Well, hello. I want to thank you for listening in. All of you interested in the Tulsa Soccer Club Hurricane Juniors program. I do want to set the tone by saying we do feel like we're a small part, but definitely plugged in to the U.S. soccer scene. And so while this may look a little bit overreaching, we actually take it quite serious that our club and also our juniors program is actually an important part of the U.S. soccer system. Just want to introduce to you the Juniors Development Program. We really see it with this merger of TSC and Hurricane, and now also with our bases of Metro Tulsa and Broken Arrow Soccer Club. See this as a huge opportunity. We also know that there's great stewardship involved, that we have a lot of players and families that are putting their trust in us to make sure we do the right things for these players. Really what I want to explain to you in just a broader term too is besides our own little hub of TSC, Metro Tulsa, and Broken Arrow, we really, besides just operating in a way that makes sense for our local families and players here, we have other constraints that are broader. We listen very much to U.S. youth soccer, to U.S. soccer, to U.S. club soccer, even to FIFA, all the time about what we ought to be doing as academy or juniors development programs. What kind of things should we focus on? And while you might think it's simple, that it's just here and make the strongest teams and try to win and get your exposure, that's part of it. But really, we're very sensitive to the things that players, what do players need? What does U.S. soccer want out of their players in the future, so that we're serving that capacity as well. We know that juniors is incredibly important to this entire organization. Certainly competitive is what has sort of the luster attached to it. And recreational is certainly where the numbers are and when kids first get started and get their enthusiasm going for soccer. But we know that the juniors age group, being that U7 to U10, is where you can have the greatest impact. That's very much so the most learning ages, the times when kids' vocabulary and skill sets grow the most and attach the most. So we take it quite serious that this juniors part of this overall club and experience is very important. A little bit treetop about our purpose and philosophy, and when you're talking about this, I think it's best to keep it simple, and I use the ABCs. You know, we talk about wanting players in these young ages that have ambition. And for me, A is about ambition. And ambition very much follows this cycle. You want players to attempt things, to not fear them. You want them certainly to aspire to conquer something or to see a goal. And then you want them to achieve it. And then, of course, the key is every time they achieve one goal, you have to be ready to set the next goal for them. One thing we hear a lot about at this age of 7 to 10, and I call this the B's, and that is that people always jump immediately to the burnout part of the B's, and that is, do you get too serious too young? Are you doing too much too young? And very sensitive to that. Really, it comes down for me to the coaches and what are you making of it? It's not that you're having perhaps more formal training or more competitive environments at a young age. It's what is your purpose? Are you about results? That's probably out of bounds. Are you too hard on the kids as opposed to positive motivation? Certainly out of bounds. But for me, I worry very much about the other spectrum, which is boredom. If we have, even though it's a small niche of players, but it's an important set of players in the scheme of U.S. soccer, we have advanced players or kids with advanced enthusiasm for the sport of soccer. If we don't stimulate them or challenge them, we definitely will lose them to other things. And I worry about them going to other sports, although I like other sports. And I worry about them just going on to other things and putting soccer in the background. So we definitely have a program that fills that niche of the players that show more enthusiasm and perhaps talent at a younger age. We want to stimulate that. And then really the C for me is sort of another constant cycle, just like the ambition cycle, and that is to continually take players from comfort to competitive. They all love playing with their friends, nothing wrong with that. They all love scoring the goals, nothing wrong with that. They all love winning the league, nothing wrong with that. But you have to continue to raise the bar, get them out of comfort zones, take them out of a position that they've only done their whole lives and put them in something new to learn more about the game. So for me, these are the ABCs that I try to run our make our purpose really in the juniors program. These are the things, the boundaries, if you will, or the platform we try to use in making our decisions. The mission of our overall club we fall right in line with, and we like this, and we plan to use stars as a little bit of a symbol for motivation for kids throughout. We say creating future stars in the game of soccer and in life. And especially, I think we would all agree that soccer is going to serve these kids for some amount of time, but likely, just like many of us, it's not going to be our profession. It's probably going to be a great activity to have, and certainly a great life skill lesson place. And so again, we look at these 5 tenets of our stars, and we want to make sure our coaches are finding chances um, to encourage each of these, or to recognize each of these in their training and their games with their players. Was there a life skill learned today by a player or by the whole team? Certainly the tactics and technical that go with soccer, and the physical and psychological too. We ask our coaches to be on the lookout for recognizing the stars in our team and in different moments in any of these aspects. I want to go through a little bit the juniors plan. We really want to try to grab this opportunity that's been placed before us. Again, we understand their stewardship and a lot of trust involved. 2 main areas I'm just going to go through here are we want to increase the player-focused training. We want to make sure that everything we're doing is about our full set of players becoming better than they were yesterday or better than they were last year. And one thing that we've sort of put a parameter on is to say we're going to control our development decisions. We're not going to only take what offerings are given to us, but we're going to think about what is exactly the things that these young players need in order to push them along the scale faster, and to keep us fully in control of those kind of decisions. When I break down the increased player-focused training, these are just a few things that would be symptoms, if you will, of hopefully the better result. We're looking for continuing the 4v4 and the 8v8 format flexibility, as opposed to being told what we must do at certain ages. We want to keep that as a training model. We're going to close our league, and I'll get more into that soon, but we're going to close our league, which means we're going to take all of our program sort of under our own wing. It gives us the chance to still reach out to other clubs or even recreational teams or whoever we want to, but we are going to take the league under our own wing and schedule it ourselves, make the matchups ourselves, decide the formats ourselves, so that we have full control again of what we're trying to accomplish with each group of players. You'll see more mix and mingle sessions where we're trying to do a little bit more things on site with our recreational bases. We feel like that's very healthy for the overall program. And again, we plan to have some sort of star symbols and awards recognizing achievement by players. Going into the closed leaguing, don't want to spend too much time because you can always ask me if you have more questions, but basically this will be where our TSC Hurricane teams will choose the formats, the coaches will choose. We will have a league scheduler. Jeff Tissue will be taking on that. We will be able to use both MTSC and Broken Arrow complexes on alternating weekends. We also have a new training complex coming available to us, not only for training during the week, but also on the weekends, because competitive teams are generally busy playing their competitive games. That park also comes open for additional games or schedules that we need to put in. Typically, we also get access to all these great complexes for other scrimmages that fall outside of our normal schedules. I do want to say that inside of this closed league, it's very important that we give the weekend matches a true match feel. We are not trying to show up and just throw on targets and sort of have a scrimmage feel, which we can do at any time. We definitely want the program to feel like we train and then we quiz on the weekend, or we test on the weekend and we see what we need to train again, and then we repeat that and we train and we show up for a match. We definitely want that competitive match feeling, despite the fact that we won't be posting results or holding results, because our games are going to serve a different purpose than that. This does not preclude us from going to tournaments or other things that we think might be appropriate. In a little bit, I'll get into more detail about some alliances we've made with some nearby clubs to kind of freshen up our weekly set of games, so that we're not always just scrimmaging TSC Hurricane teams. Try to inject a little bit of new blood now and again to try to keep that fresh, and we'll talk more about that.